Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast sponsored by Closers.io, where we explore the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Milan Kohut, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced, the lessons learned, and the strategies fueling future growth. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by Kim Westlund, a vision coach, podcast host of the Vision B-Side, speaker and entrepreneur behind Kim Westlund Incorporated. She specializes in helping leaders uncover and lift their unique vision through business storytelling, coaching, and creative facilitation. From her Calgary base, Kim moderates high-stakes panels and guides clients to craft narratives that turn personal purpose into professional momentum. With that being said, Kim, let me officially welcome you to Founders Future.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Have this great discussion.
Thank you so much for accepting. It's great to have you on the podcast. I'm looking forward to the conversation. So we're going to jump right into it. And what I love to do at the beginning of every single episode is a bit of traveling back in time, right? So before you even had this company, what were you doing before? And then eventually, what was the motivation for starting the business?
That's a loaded question because I spent a long time, over 30 years actually, in corporate and nonprofit roles. So I had a long runway to the where it led me today, and it was so diverse as well. I didn't really have a straight path. And so I found looking back that all of the roles that I had were roles that I had to build from scratch. It was really interesting. I didn't see that coming, but it really prepared me to where I am today. So everything from starting as a fine artist in photography, very creative minded, all the way to a media company. And then that led me to a bank of all things. And somehow all of those roles, just leadership and learning how to build great teams and learning how to lead myself first really led me to what I'm doing today. And obviously, vision becoming the main focus for me and to help others with their vision.
30 years in corporate world. For
Yeah.
some reason, I think whenever I speak to people about being in corporate, when you're in corporate for 5 and more years, for some reason, people almost never leave. Like looking back at your journey, what do you think was the pivotal moment for you where you basically had the conversation with yourself and you were like, okay, there's something more for you. Just go for it.
I think I was looking back, I think I was more of an entrepreneur, to be honest. I don't think I ever really hooked into the corporate mindset overall. Like I think I did to some degree, but I always knew deep down that what I wanted to do was something beyond the four walls that I was in. So when I was there leading, specifically when I was in the performing arts space, I was leading a big team, and I just through that process saw the transformation of people, and I saw myself being challenged in the process. And that kind of was the spark to see that I think there's more. I think there's more I want to do. And then when I'm coming up with my own ideas that don't really fit within the organization, that's really, again, fueling that runway to do my own thing. But it wasn't until I actually lost my job during the pandemic. That was the launch pad that pushed me into the role that I'm playing today. So it was a difficult situation, but I also knew the blessing in disguise was it's time for me to jump into what I'm really created and wired to do.
Good old COVID.
Good old
I love
COVID,
it.
yes.
Okay. Beautiful. Kim, let's talk about where this journey got you overall and really what the business looks like for you today. In this part of the podcast, my goal is to really get the audience close to, first of all, who it is exactly that you're trying to help right now. And also, what are the core offerings that you have in place for your clients? How does that work?
I have to start with really my why behind the business because it describes the person that I'm trying to help, and it was really me a number of years ago. So the reason I started this business, other than what I just mentioned about the leadership training and things like that, and my desire to help others, I found myself a number of years ago in a very difficult place in my life. I won't go into the full story, but just as just a quick summary, I had been through a couple of marriages, and nobody gets married to think they're going to get divorced. So it was this, I thought I was a big dreamer, always felt like I had these massive goals in my life and I could conquer the world. and I had life take me out at the knees. And after the second marriage ended, I found myself bankrupt, single parent, no home, no car, no job, even on welfare for a time. And I had hit my rock bottom moment. And that for me was the pivotal time in my life where I was going to decide, do I have a vision for my future? And so when I decided that the vision became greater than my circumstances, that's what really propelled me to do what I'm doing today. Even though it happened many years ago, that's my why. That's my driving force every single day that I get up and I think about if I can do it, anybody can do it. So I help people understand why vision's important and that even though you hit these really big roadblocks sometimes in life, whether it's personally, professionally, there's always a way and a plan out of it. And so I help people through, I do some one to one coaching, but I do more on the group side of coaching. So I have a membership community that we meet every single week and we talk through what it means to continually have a plan and a purpose for your life. So that could be goal setting, making sure your priorities are intact, identifying distractions. That's a big part of my business is I actually help people stop drifting and stop just living through day to day this kind of treadmill life and identify what could be stealing their time and their attention. So that's just a little hint of why I do what I do and the goals that I have for my business with others.
Beautiful. Now, looking retrospectively back at all of those people that you work with, obviously at this point, we do have a better idea of who it is that you want to work with. But every single business owner, entrepreneur goes through the process of really finding the clarity of what are those s- specifications that I'm looking for to help me make the decision whether I'm going to end up working with somebody or not. So I
Yeah.
just want to get some clarity in terms of what the process looks like for you and how do you even define the ICP based on what you said?
That's a great question because not every client is suited to work with me. And what I have found is that I actually work with people who are committed right out of the gate to take some form of action. So I'm not here to convince somebody else that they need my services. I need somebody to be tuning into what I can help them do in their own lives. So if somebody comes to me, but they're not willing to be committed and to put in the work and the time, it's not a great fit. And so I've decided that right out of the gate. Actually, not right out of the gate, because initially I was working with as a new business owner, come work with me. It doesn't matter who you are. I'll try and help anybody. And in due time, I realized that I am not suited for people that are not willing to do the hard work and not willing to look in the mirror and say, no, you know what? I do need to change some things or be open to those conversations. So there is a very distinct client that I do find fits best with me. And that is one that is committed, even though they may not know all the answers and how this is going to go, but they're at that place of, no, it's time. Don't have another path. I don't have a plan B. I need to make my life work and I'm ready.
I love this. Thank you for walking us through that. I feel like this is incredibly important because, like you said yourself, in a way, it is okay for you as a new business owner just getting and starting into the within the industry to be open to every single piece of business that is coming your way. But from a long-term perspective, this is just going to come and bite you in the ass, basically, isn't it? Right?
Absolutely. It muddies the waters. If you are
Yeah.
a new business owner, if you're listening and you've just started a business, or maybe you're a year or two in, and you're taking every form of business that's coming your way, on one side, sure, you've got some money coming in the door that serves a need in the beginning, but you have to be aware that could be muddying what you're doing in the future because you have to stay true and have that really foundational vision for your business as well as your personal life. So be very clear on where you're going, what your aspirations are, what your big goals are, and then you say yes to the things that line up with those goals, and it's an easy no if it does not align. So vision actually helps you say yes and no to the right things and the wrong things.
I love that. Beautiful. Now, Kim, one thing that I would also love to clarify, based on the conversation that we had so far, but also me going through your website, your social media, just getting ready for you as a guest, I feel like you're balancing both the world of B2C, where you work with individuals, but also working on the side of B2C and B2B, excuse me, and working with organizations and corporates. Is that correct?
Yes, I do dabble in both worlds right now, and it's an interesting mix. The creative part of me loves working with individuals. I host vision board workshops. This time of year is wonderful because I'm all in and having people think personally what those vision goals are. And even if you're in business and you want a business vision, it actually starts with personal. So, personal is very grounding and foundational for you yourself. But then the B2B side of things, business absolutely, in my opinion, will not flourish long term or even hire the right people in their organizations if they don't have the right vision ahead of them and do that hard work. I have seen people from maybe CEOs and the executives of a company know where they're going and where they're heading and what the big plan is. But I've seen the frontline workers not have a clue how they fit into this vision and how they can be a part of the bigger picture. And sometimes that creates the churn of people leaving. For me, vision on both sides, both personally and professionally, are absolutely foundational to succeeding.
I love that. I'm glad we covered it though, because this is also tremendously important for another set of questions that you need to ask yourself as a business owner. And we're going to cover that now because what I want to talk is the back end side of business and everything that's going on. And we
Yes.
all know that in order to succeed with a project like this, you really need to have a good client acquisition system in place and know your way around marketing and how to really get in front of the right people. So my
Yes.
question is, what is it though that you currently do on the front of marketing and maybe specifically generating contacts and leads for yourself to make all of this happen?
So this is it's a fantastic question because I think this is where the bottleneck is for a lot of business owners. And one thing in terms of what I do in my business, and I think for any business owner out there, is to create first and foremost a personal brand. And I market me. So I market who I am. I work every single day at being the best version of me and showing that best version online. I came from a generation that kind of didn't do that, to be honest. We held back a little bit and we didn't have, I'm Gen X, we didn't have the internet and all that stuff when I was younger. And so we didn't understand the importance or even how to show up in this format. And so I find today a lot of people, especially from my generation, have a bit of a harder time showing up authentically online and taking the mask off and saying, hey, this is me. And so I have found in doing so, that's really the name of the game. I have to show people who I am because if you want to show up to me and work with me, I want you to show up authentically. So I have to show up in that same way. So I think that is probably one of the biggest stumbling blocks people have. And I talk about my generation, but I'm talking also, I've seen it across the board. People just having not enough confidence to show up authentically themselves and really show who they are to the world. And that doesn't mean airing all your dirty laundry. It means just having a sense of, hey, I struggle. I'm not perfect. I don't have all the answers to everything, but I'm not stopping. I have a no quit in me, and we'll just find a way to push through these difficult periods in my life. And sometimes people are scared to show up in that way, but I'm telling
Mhm.
you, that is the name of the game is when you can just be honest. People will connect with you, and that's when people will want to work with you. When you can just show up the just who you truly are and in some of your very raw struggles that you have.
100%. Which also, by the way, begs the question, are you making this a reality through the means of basically generating a ton of content and really staying out there for your audience, connecting with them, staying engaged? Or have you also dabbled into some other sources, whether that's strategic partnerships, whether that's running
Mm.
paid ads to create something more scalable and reachable and predictable? What is your perspective on that?
My email list is critical. So that's something that I have committed to building. And even this next year, it's one of my major goals is to build my email list out because then I'm not relying on a lot of social media outlets or platforms to define who my audience is and who I'm speaking to and algorithms and things like that. So then I know I've got a very engaged audience through my email list. So I think that's very critical for any business owner to do that. Any other way that I'm looking at marketing myself and getting myself out there? Like I said, I have a membership community, and I have found through a membership community, and I really think this is the way of the future, by the way, is to create a safe space for people to show up and have intimate conversations, to create that place where people can find themselves a little bit offline. I think that's critical. So I'm looking maybe even at some non-traditional ways. I know there's been a lot of talk about how do you get offline but still connect with people and how do you reach your audience that way. So I'm still playing around with it, but I have those few key things. But I'd say my number one goal is my email list in the coming year.
I love it. Now, Kim, in terms of taking care of all of those activities, obviously there is a lot happening on the front of marketing, but also converting those clients, having those sales conversations, onboarding everybody. So I'm curious, would you say that a part of your plan is also create like your own internal teams, whether that's for marketing, whether that's for sales, possibly other departments as well? Or would you rather keep it at a like a one-woman show and just keep it tight knit and to yourself? What is the idea there?
I do not want to be a one woman show. Let's be clear. I totally respect that my skill set or my strengths are not always in the back end things. So I am building that out, but I, as a business owner, need to understand them. So I'm in that stage where I'm still okay. I'm still managing things. I do have some help, but that official kind of role structure team build out, I'm at that stage. I'm at that place of growth where I do need to have some of those places taken care of so that I can continue to work on what I'm good at and recognize that I can't do it all, and nor should I. I truly see my business as global. So, because my vision is big, I have to also plan the pieces out where I am implementing the right people into the right roles. So I do have a couple of contracted positions at the moment. So that my first step, I'm just taking it in stages. But absolutely, because the vision is big, I have to see the roles that I have as supporting that vision. So it's all part of the process.
Lovely. Now, talking about the vision, the huge ambition, the future of the company, especially when you think about the short-term goals, maybe the next 6 months to 12 months, what would you say really are the biggest goals for you? The targets, revenue that you want to hit, milestones that you have set for yourself?
If we're talking about this next year, obviously it's going to be, I do a vision board every single year. That's the number one thing. And so for me, having a global retreat is something that I have always had on the radar. So that is absolutely on my vision board, as well as a global summit. So I'm thinking much more targeted. So I'm getting a little more narrow in some of the things that I'm going after, but they're very impactful and they're very much aligned with the impact that I want to have. So I started off one-to-one coaching quite a bit, and I knew in my heart that I wanted to always have a handful of clients because I love the one-to-one, but the to reach more people and the vision that I have for this company is to be much more broad. So I have to then, the groundwork that I'm laying is to create those bigger opportunities for people to connect and with me and with each other. So those are two of the very, very big goals that I have on the horizon right now. And so that will mean that I have to probably set a few other things aside this year to be able to focus on those things. I said the word focus quite a few times. That's the key. If you're listening and you're planning your next year out or you're thinking about what you want to do to put your vision forward, the key is not adding more onto the plate and not taking anything off. You got to be super clear on what it is that connects with that vision and start narrowing your focus and getting that funnel a little more aligned and thin to what you want to achieve, because skimming the surface with a lot of things is never going to bring you to truly where you want to be. So you have to dig in and you have to start saying yes, like I said, yes and no to certain things.
I love it. Typically, I ask every single guest on the show to leave a bit of wisdom and advice as we're getting towards the end of it. But you managed to do both, answer my question and also throw some golden nuggets at us. So I really appreciate it. Now, Kim, talking about the future and this sort of growth and scale that you have in mind, it's beautiful.
Mm.
When you think about all of the possible things that could happen, out of everything, what would you say is really going to be the biggest challenge keeping you from making this a reality?
Myself, honestly, if I don't continue to refine who I am, that's where I think the biggest bottleneck that can happen in my business will be is within myself. So I always teach people that come and work with me, it's always in the becoming. Who you are becoming makes space for what you're going to do. So if you try and put what you're going to do ahead of who you're becoming, you'll always default back to where you're at. That's the biggest thing. I'm constantly growing, I'm constantly learning, I'm constantly connecting. And that is what keeps me on track, because I realize I have to be the best version of me to be able to step into these great things that I'm endeavoring to do. So if I stop doing that, that's going to be a big problem in what I achieve in life. So that's the absolute number one thing on my
Loving the
to-do
self-awareness here.
list. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Beautiful. Kim, I just want to say thank you for taking the time today, sharing the story with the audience and with me. I really appreciate your time. I enjoyed my time here and having a conversation about what's next for your company. It's exciting though. If anybody from the listeners would like to get in touch with you and perhaps even work with you one day, how to go about it?
You can find me through my website, kimwestland.co. And I'm on social. I'm on LinkedIn is a great place to find me, Instagram and Facebook. But connect with me through the website. There's a contact page there. I would love to connect with you. I'm always interested in helping the right person. So if you feel like you're ready for the next step and vision in your life, that's exactly what I'm here for.
Beautiful. Thank you again. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Love it. Now, to our listeners, if today's conversation inspired you as well, make sure to subscribe to Founders Future on your favorite platform. And also, if you're a business owner, more specifically a consultant or a coach, or you have an agency and you're trying to scale the business and really enhance both your sales and marketing efforts, also visit closers.io, get in touch with our team, and discover how exactly we scaled our company from zero to over 30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on crushing it, and I'll see you on the next one.